You're running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, everybody. Quasar Markets Live here. Here we go. Trump cuts and cryptos. As I said earlier, look, it's very simple. Look in the news this morning. You're seeing that the reverberation of what the tariffs are happening around the world, including the steel tariffs, are really starting to affect these global supply chains. And it's an interesting place for me because, quite frankly, it's where we are building. It's how we're doing this. Now, what is interesting is that the international investment money is now coming back into the United States. So that's why you're seeing the market still pushing up here. Look, we saw consumer prices rising 0.3% in June. I'm pulling the numbers down now. And the Federal Reserve's beige book now confirming that the tariff-driven cost pressures, steel and manufacturing inputs are being passed to consumers. So these are the two main things that have come up this morning. But quite frankly, look, I saw where retail sales were up again for the month of June. And that number just came out. And that's telling me everything you need to know, that the Fed is saying, look, retail sales are still happening and that unemployment numbers are still pretty flat. So if that's the case, then why is the Fed going to cut rates? But we're seeing that the change here now, the political side of this, where Trump is saying, all right, I'm going to fire Powell. Oh, no, I'm not. It's fake news. Okay. All right. Well, it's got to come somewhere. I think it was a trial balloon being sent out there. I think that's what's happened there. For those of you who don't know politically, what that means is that someone in the administration sends out a message saying, hey, we're thinking about Trump is thinking about firing Powell. And then he walks back and says, no, I'm not, to see if it's popular or not, right? That's called a trial balloon. And looks like it got popped on the way in. So, and then, of course, this morning you saw Elizabeth Warren on CNBC talking about it, saying that this is bad. And yesterday, the markets got volatile, but it didn't really seem to affect it. It seems to be that we are working that into into the markets as trading, that Powell being gone is not going to really affect the markets. So I don't know. I think it's a big question mark around that for Elizabeth Warren. I'm not a fan, obviously, as everybody knows. All right. We all know one thing's happening right now. It's earnings season. It's about to get really, really hot here on earnings. I want to see earnings, but I want to see earnings in one little area that we haven't seen it too much in, and that's in the biotech sector. I want to see earnings in Eli Lilly. I want to see earnings in Novo Nordisk with the weight loss drugs, and I want to see earnings in Amazon because of the numbers. We saw the numbers when it came out to Prime days seemed to be very, very, very big. 24 billion, missed the number that I think people were shooting for, the 25 billion Amazon was shooting for, but still a huge jump in retail sales in Amazon for Prime days. Now, I think a couple things happened there. The first thing happened was they increased the days of this 3 days now, Prime days, as opposed to one Prime day. And I can tell you one thing that I've noticed, because I do use Amazon to shipping, is that the shippers themselves have been behind UPS and FedEx. So with those two, I want to see their numbers too as well. Maybe it's just my area, but it seems that the supply chains in those shipping from the warehouse to homes and businesses seems to be a little slower. So let's see how that, and I don't blame UPS and FedEx. They're getting overwhelmed. $25 billion of sales of stuff probably don't need is happening. Now, I did buy a few things. I bought bookshelves, something like that, but nothing significant that I would change my life. So I am interested to see what Amazon has to say. Also, it still seems to be AI, and quantum computing. I'm hearing now that in the world of AI, quantum computing is already being used to speed up the process of mining. So I expect that probably in the next 3 to 6 months, that miners, traditional miners, may take a hit here. Companies like Mara, places like that, because they can't keep up with the quantum computing that's now going after the Bitcoin, which might speed up the mining, which might depress cryptocurrencies in general, Bitcoin itself specifically. But still holding at 118, so I'm not saying too much here. It's still holding up as we're starting to see even more institutions are picking up Bitcoin and buying. We're even seeing companies that are actually selling their own stock and or raising money to being able to buy more Bitcoin. Absolutely amazing the world that we live in right now. All right, let's get to it. Tesla is now pushing higher here early this morning. We talked about that several times over the last few weeks. Why? Because Tesla seems to be getting out of the doldrums now. 324.30 for those of you who are buying under 300. Congrats with me. Here we are. And we're looking at the VXX. Now, I am still long the VXX, as everybody here knows. I am not changing my thesis here. In fact, I think a pullback is incoming. We've talked about this the last couple of days where I feel like it's the price is right? That there's the Mountaineer. And the Mountaineer, and the thing just falls apart right at the end. I'll probably bring up a video if you want to see what I'm talking about. But look, when we look at the markets in general, we have to make sure that we have a better, clearer picture than what's being portrayed on TV, right? When I look at the TV, I go, okay, all right, here they go. They're telling me all kinds of things, but are they telling me the truth? Are they giving me exactly what's really going on here in the markets? And then let me show you what I mean by that. I'm gonna show my chart here, and I've said this I can't tell you how many times. Right now, charts are not really holding steady here. They're not telling you the correct answer right now. And here it is. And listen, my charts are crazy. I understand them probably better than anybody. But if you look here, this thing is starting to firm up here in this area right now. If I get this linear regression to turn to south, we've got a selling thing. This is a daily chart here. I'm gonna pull up a weekly chart. I'm just not seeing it. I'm seeing a turn here. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it looks like it's happening in the next few weeks here. You can see here the turn. They're all kind of mirroring the past turns. There's the turn again. Look at that, almost mirroring exactly what had happened in the past. This in here is not giving me the answer just yet. We're not completely overbought, but we're pretty highly overbought. Not to the point where we're going to have these major corrections yet. But if you look back in April, the big one that I called, there it is, you'll notice it doesn't happen in one day, right? The sell-offs don't happen in one day. So it takes a few days. But as we build up into that selling pressure, see a lot of selling pressure, then it just happens, right? Sometimes it's news. But from 2025, in this case, it was based on Trump's tariffs. You can see that selling pressure here, but it had a baseline, and so I'm expecting that baseline to come back. So I'm expecting about a 50-point pullback here in the Qs. Why the Qs? Because the Qs is what's been holding the market up. This is still a Mag 7 market. It is a stock pickers market. I've said this 100 times. This is not an overarching, oh yeah, the Qs are all up. Oh yeah, the market's up. It's still pushing up, big beat. Well, it is, but it's being held up by the Mag 7. So I'm telling you right now, I'm going to pull away from here and take this off so you can probably see a little bit better. There it is, right? This right here, this box right here that I'm looking at is telling me where it's coming back to. And it's coming back to about 530 first, and then I think somewhere around 500, which is the next. Now, one of the things that I've learned over my 34 years in markets is that this right here. Does everybody see that right there? All right. In a chart, that is called a gap. That's where it gaps from here to here, where the open and the close does not match. Okay. That means that gap at some point has to be filled, meaning that it has to come all the way back here and test that fill. So it will test it. And I've said we're probably going to pull back to about 500. If we get down to 504 and break through there, then we'll go to 493. So this could be one rapid sell-off. Oh, it's a lot. No, it's not, because we saw the same thing happen back in February all the way to April. And this April move was here. And of course, Of course, I called it and said that we have a capitulation happening. And I saw wailing and gnashing and crying and gnashing of teeth and all kinds of things that this is the world's, oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Yeah. Look, the world's not ending, but it's not good. So when we saw this, this is what got me excited. All right, I'm buying, and I did. Of course, as you all know, if you've been following me, we've been long ever since. I'm still long in my main accounts, but right now I am actually out of my trading accounts. I'm not long or short anything. I'm long VIX just to protect my bigger portfolios. But right here, we are seeing it again. Right here it is. Look at this. Look at this. Kaboom. Look at this. Kaboom. Kaboom. We don't want that to happen on you, right? And this is a much, you'll see here, I consider this here in the histogram. This is the power, the energy, right, behind it. The energy behind this buying was super high. And that's what I thought, that this is why I'm long, right? It changed. Now the energy is changing. The energy in the histogram is changing. The turn is changing. Everything is changing, right? The volume, the speed, all of it is changing. It's slowing down, which means if they can't continue to push up, it's got to go one way or the other. And I think it's going to come down. Now, what's holding it up is international investment. So we've seen a lot of international investment over the last few weeks, still pumping into the U.S. markets. So for me, I need to see that slowing up just a little bit too as well, because I think the problem that we're seeing, and a good side, if you're positive, if you're long, is that when there's nothing else in the world to invest in, and we're the only country to invest in, then you're going to see investment money come back into the United States. And I think that's what you're seeing right now. Q's now slipping just a wee bit here. Tick now down 18. I mean, it's still a flat day. We're still looking for, Israel says 2 projectiles that crossed from Gaza has been intercepted. So there's still some fighting over there. Light sweet crude oil, 66.46. If the world was doing crazy, awesome, we'd see oil pushing higher, right? Because why? Because we need oil to move things around. Diesel, gasoline, heating oil, whatever you need. Not seeing that. Dollar now 98.68. Steve Flanagan told you the dollar's going to push up. All of these theses and themes that we've been talking about are actually happening. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback in silver. And we heard from Peter Thomas, I mentioned it here several times too. He's telling you, if gold holds at 3,300, which it has so far a few times now, 33.13, which is where we're at right now, it should go right on up. If it breaks 3,300, we're going to go on down. So there's a lot of things at stake here that's going on. And I think for a lot of people, they just really aren't paying attention. I think they're paying attention to news articles that are saying, oh, buy this stock because this stock's the next big quantum computing stock. Okay, well, I'm glad you're talking about quantum computing now, but we've been talking about it for 3 years now, right? Glad you're finally getting into Palantir, but you might be a little late to the Palantir machine. Because those of us that are buying at 30, we kind of knew what was going on. Why? Because we have the thing. Good morning, Ron. There you are. Hey, good. Got any stocks you want me to look at? We can look at this. We can look at the charts for you too as well. Tesla's still pushing here, 324.13 now, but we are looking at the VXX now, 45.58. There's nothing for me. The advanced decline line positive by 820. It's just not showing me anything right now. Pushing higher here, we're seeing here that that Uber is making a big robo-taxi play with an investment in Lucid. We know that, right? We know that, and Lucid could be one of those stocks that that we really like. Yeah. That could be very interesting here. Big jump there in Lucid. Pull up a daily chart there. We are back to about where February was. Could go right on up later today too. be careful. There's a lot of people that are in Lucid right now that are long for this play. So be careful this morning. But Lucid right here, LCID. There you go. All right, continue running along here. Looks like dollar's still trying to push up here, 98.67. I'm glad about that. Keep going. 10-year now, 4.451. We really need to see the 10-year continue to slip here. As money as a percentage come down, obviously, that means that less rates are going up, and it means that, well, it's money's flowing into the bond market. So that could be a good thing here. Why is that a good thing? Because that's how the government borrows money in order to be able to pay the bills. And if you're seeing the government starting to save some money on some things, now I know that the latest bill for $9 billion in savings, cutting out foreign aid and cutting out Sesame Street, that's not gonna change. $9 billion is nothing in the scheme of things here. Fed's Kugler now says many reasons to expect larger tariff impact coming here. Says it's appropriate to hold rates steady for some time. So for people that are expecting a cut, not seeing it just yet here. Says that inflation remains above the 2% target and labor market stable and resilient. The very thing that I've been talking about this morning, right? If we're not seeing these unemployment numbers, then obviously we're not going to get a cut in the rates. Yeah. So, right. They're telling us, I don't agree with it. I mean, obviously I'm on the other side. I think we should cut rates. I think, it's not because of what the president's saying. I think we have a housing issue right now, right? That people are not borrowing money to buy a house, and it's very hard for new first-time buyers right now to buy a home because rates seem to be high. Now, that sounds very interesting to people like my parents who bought their first house at 16%, right? It's kind of crazy, right, to us today. But it's crazy to them that rates are at 6 and 7%. But when we saw the rates at 3% and to 7% now, 4% in the house, well, 4% on a house in most of the rates is front run by the bank, right? You pay the bills up front as you pay off the house. You pay very little off on the house. You're paying most of the bank's funding bill, shall we say. But that's adding a lot. You're almost doubling the cost of the home almost over the 15 or 30 years. 30 years for the majority. I never advise anybody to get a 30-year mortgage unless you're getting a jumbo. Maybe jumbo meaning anything over $500,000, which is pretty much a majority of homes now in some of the bigger areas like New York and California. But when you look at it from that perspective, okay. All right, let's get to it. Let's go right to it. Here's one I'm interested in, and I've been interested in it for a while. And why is that? It's Walmart. If Amazon shows me that they've got really good numbers, we could see another pullback here in Walmart. Walmart was one that I saw the other day. I like the short in this. You'd have to go bigger numbers if you wanted it. But you can see here that 93.57, right about this. You can see that line right in there. That's where that line is telling me that, hey, there could be a pullback to that section right there. A couple of dollars to the downside. If that is, we could see it all the way jump all the way down to $81 again, testing that low of back in April. There you go. Because I don't think we're going to get back to the 106 handle that we saw back in February, January and February of this year. So for me, I'm looking at this as in an interesting way, because if you go towards all of retail, you pull up Amazon, that's why Amazon is showing you, remove this one, showing you that, hey, we might have hit the top here if we didn't get our numbers that we wanted. And so we're starting to see a lot of that in the retail sector. AMD up again today. We know that the chip sector is doing very well here. NVIDIA is still pushing up here to the upside. Why? Because of crypto, the miners. Why? Because of AI. Why? Because of quantum computing. All of those things here are telling you. So we're still seeing it. That's what I mean by it's not when you look at the broader markets. Amazon, Walmart is a very broad indicator of the market, right? We're not seeing that. We're not seeing it being pushing up the rest of the market. It's being held up by these same stocks. If you look at it from the perspective of the rest of Mag 7, from those of you who heard from me a few months ago, I told you I thought this was the key to me, that I liked Google. Google has made a nice run here. I thought out of the Mag 7, this was the most undervalued, still is the most undervalued by several metrics, fundamental metrics. Hey, if you're out there right now, retweet us out there, repost us out there, send me some comments. Love it. But you can see here, we're pushing up. We got about 8 minutes now until the open here. I'm not seeing much again of the open as we did yesterday too. Same thing. Pull back a little bit in the Qs. Let's see how it goes. But Brad Sherman, Congressman Brad Sherman now says on the crypto bills, FLCIO has sent a letter to every member saying that these bills are an attack on working families. So it seems that the Democrats are fighting pretty seriously against the crypto bills. I don't understand this. Yeah, I think he's wrong, but that's my opinion. I don't see how it's hurting the average family. Kluger has gone on to talk about, I'm going to post all of his comments here to us at the bottom of the screen. You'll see it going across here in a second. There you go. All the different comments that he has made so far. Yeah, TSM also up. We can look at that too, Ron. TSM, there it is. Taiwan Semi. The chip sector has been up. If you heard from me about a month ago, I was talking to Dan Ives in New York, and I asked him specifically about Taiwan Semi. That was my question to him, talking to him and having a chat. That he liked Taiwan Semi a lot. He liked it so much so, and I asked him the point blank. The question was, is Taiwan Semi as popular there as NVIDIA is here? And he said, no, but it's getting there. And so, he was saying that, look, this thing is could go even higher. And he's been right. I talked to him a month ago, and this stock is up from 206 to about 230 now, almost 250 now. But by the time of that time, so this is getting, these things are getting frothy. Can we go higher, right? Can we go higher? And I think the answer is yes, as a stock picker's market. And here's the stock picking, right? The stock picking is in the semiconductor sector. It's not in the overall broader market, right? If we look at the I'll show it to you. Here we go again. What are we seeing here? Right? This is a daily chart. I'm not showing where the market is trying to push higher. I'm seeing this. And I think we have a pullback. How big is the pullback? I don't know. My crystal ball is broken. I have one, by the way. It's sitting over here on my desk. But I don't know. And yeah, new 52 high on TSM. Yeah, that's right. And I think a lot of people like these breakouts. They like when things, break out into a new high, and they like to buy them and keep buying them and keep buying them. But for the people that are already in Taiwan Semi, are they looking to continue to buy, or are they looking to take some of that money off and put in their pocket? Right. I think that's the key. I think you're going to start seeing a little bit of profit taking in some of these places. Now, we talked about it yesterday, right? That the overall broader market is literally over the .com era. Our PE ratios, our inflation CAPE ratios is over the .com. It's over 1929, the biggest market drop in history. It's over 1987 when the market crashed in 87. Now, when I talk about the markets, I always say the same thing, right? It's the path of least resistance. Is the path of least resistance, is it to the upside or to the downside? Look at there, what I talk about, just like the Qs. There's a big gap here. It's not been filled. Look at these gaps. Back in January, there were 1, 2, 3 gaps. Now, the first gap got filled, and they tried to push it higher. What did it do? Filled those gaps, and when it broke to the bottoms, it went right on down because they were testing, and then it really fell. Boom. We know where the bottoms are because I've already laid it out for you. Here's where they are. Where they've tested. Tested back in 2023. Go all the way back. But right now, we are not seeing that. I'm going to try to, there you go. So hopefully you can see that. Hopefully the screens are big enough to see. And you can see it can't push either direction. And right now, to me, that tells me that we are lowering the volume. Look at that. Volume is lowering. See, we need this in the histogram to give me some juice in order to push, right? So when I saw the selling here happen, let it happen, and I did, and then I bought. Because I know that it got past that juice back in March. Okay, this was the juice that needed to happen, the selling. I'm not seeing that, right? This is what we normally see, these little bitty buys and sells. So I'm not saying we're looking here for a crash. But this is what happened back last year, back in July. Right? When did it start to happen? Look at that. When did it happen? 2024. July the 19th. What is today? July the 17th. So I think that history is trying to tell us something. Usually in the summertime, markets slow down and people are off, the brokers in New York are off to the Hamptons and they aren't. Now, you can say, oh, well, majority of the money right now is retail money coming into it. I promise you they have computers and phones in Hamptons too. Okay? I promise you. They do. So what are they going to do? I think they're going to take us to the downside. And I think they're going to try to catch us up into that gap. At least the first one. If they catch the first gap and they have enough pressure, right? There's the gaps. Fill that gap. If there's enough pressure, as the pressure builds, pressure might build, we'll try to touch that next gap. And it will happen very quickly. Now, in this case, it happened in 5 days, a week. And then it happened again the next week. And of course, from here to here took little less than 4 weeks, a little less than a month. So there are some big gaps here to fill, and I expect them to fill. Now, there's a big one down here that it got filled, but it could because there's another gap right here on this side. I don't think we're going to go down that far because unless there's some kind of catalyst, we need a catalyst in order for that to happen. But this little catalyst here to get to here is no big deal because you have buyers in here, right? So if we get to here and it breaks there, which is 614, which is 10 points away, it'll break to down here. Well, that's not a lot. That's not big. That's not a big. Well, 10% pullback would be 60 points, right? So if that's the case, there it is. So if you have just a normal pullback with all of the fundamentals here, we're at a high. We're at this, high on literally on just FOMO in a lot of ways. We're on a high based comparatively to quantum, or in this case, I think I'm going to call this the AI quantum highs. We're basing this against 1929. We're basing this against .com. We're basing this against COVID, all of this. Well, this is it, right? So this is not a big pullback. This is just a test, right? This would be like a 3 to 5% test, and that would be your 10% pullback, which is a healthy correction. All right. This is not me saying, oh, the markets are going to fall apart and it's over. The game is, we're done. No, I'm just saying be careful out there because there's too much FOMO going on. And I'm not seeing it. And you're seeing where you're seeing now members of the Fed saying we're not cutting rates. All right, here we go. Markets are open first to the downside here already. Looks like opening bell there at Disney, not too far away. Still seeing a little bit of buying here, but nothing going on yet. We'll keep our eye on the SPY here on a 1-second chart so you can keep our eye. SPY up 21 cents. I just don't see it. Could we go higher than the day? Yes. Can we go lower in the day? Yes. I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about protecting your portfolio. Keep our eye here on should be UAL, right? I'm also watching UAL this morning here at 4.5%. I've been saying this for a while that this is the stock that has done quite well over the last few months. And I have liked UAL over the last few months. Most of those of you know. I've also liked Delta Airlines as well. I am about to make a trade here. I think I'm going to short Tesla here, I think. And I am now short Tesla here. I'll look at the orders here in a second. I went at market here for those of you who are following along at home. There you go. There, it's already starting to fall again. I'm gonna do it again. I'm probably going to short again here. Yeah, I am now short again. And I can tell you what my orders are in here. Yeah. I am in at 322.88. So for those of you who are playing at home, I'm pretty short 322.88. Probably take yeah, it takes a little bit. I am very heavy. And we'll see if I can't just pull out $1 or $2 out of the stock. And I have an order in to buy back in. I won't give that number away, but let's just say it's a tight one. I do think we're going to see a little bit of selling there. All right, Bitcoin here now 117.8, so it's really struggling here as well. And I believe that I am out of my Tesla. For those of you following along at home, congratulations. I believe I got that order in, and yeah. Yeah, I did. I'm out. Congratulations for those of you who are following at home. This is a quick dollar. That's how I'm talking about being quick and being moving into it. I took $1 out of this at a big number here. It was easy. Now, yeah, there's the selling here, and we might even go negative on the day. But for me, I want to show you how it's not always about long-term ideas, right? You can play the market quick in and out. And for me, that was the key here, and we did it. Congratulations for those of you who were playing at home with me there. Very nice day. And of course, now here we go, now a little bit farther down. But I wanted to show you that how we do this. So if you were following along with me, quick move, go big and get out. You can do that with options. You can do it. I don't need to do the options with it because I don't want to give them where I'm at. So I always give them. Yeah. In fact, I think we might actually push up a little bit. The tick here now up 200, but I'm not really seeing a very positive day here in the market. I think we'll continually go negative. Any stocks out there you guys want to watch or follow along? I appreciate that. Just make sure you repost this because hey, let's help a lot of people out there, right? They don't need to hear some of the crap that's out there. They need to hear the good stuff. John's charts now talking about OKLO, that they're buying the September 19th $55 calls. Pull up John's charts here. I do follow John's charts for those of you who don't know. Yeah, there we go. Tesla is slipping again, 321.80 now. Could see another slip here in the markets here. Tick now up 375. Oil now 66.58 now a barrel. So we're still seeing that a little bit. Silver still holding here at 37.67. We need to see some negativity in the markets for the metals again. Any kind of negative macro news out there. Advanced decline line now positive by 21.27. So that's interesting there to me. And here we go. Tesla now near the lows of the day here. All right, pretty quiet day here. Bitcoin trying again, 117.8 now, 117.9 here. We might get back to the, yeah, there we go, 118 again. Could push right back up to the 119 handle there. Tick now up almost 400 here. So a little positive coming into the market as the sellers are starting to slow down a bit. VIX is trying to push up here. VXX now 45.80. Remember, I have a VXX long, heavy, very heavy, to protect all of my portfolios, not just to protect my trading portfolios, but all of my portfolios. Because I have, as I've been talking about it, a really bad feeling that we're going to see a slippage here, that the markets could pull back. And I will share my screen again so we can. I will pull up a 1 second chart so we can do it again. As you can see, where we are pushing just a wee bit here to the upside. And I think the sellers are kind of exhausted a little bit this morning. So let's see where they go. If we can't push here, could be another slip in the markets here, but make sure you have linear regression on your charts, because linear regression has been dead on lately. And in days like today, charts are awesome. This is what I mean when I say charts aren't everything, but today charts are good. Yeah, Oklo pulling back now. Agreed. Yeah. And we can look at Lucid too as well. As I said this morning, Lucid might be one of those, okay, now you've made that run of about 50%. You could have easily shorted or sold your Lucid there and made about 20% today. That's kind of the exact key that I was talking about this morning. That is interesting here, Lucid here. If we pull up the 1 hour chart on Lucid, you can see we're way out of the lines here. There you go. There's your 1 hour chart. And if you pull up a 3-minute chart, why big beat are we pulling up a 3-minute chart? That's what Wall Street looks at, by the way. You can see that this could be the big gap that it needs to go back and check out and fill. Tesla now took that low out, didn't it? Oh well, can't win them all. For those of you who have been playing at home with me, I'm still low on my Unity, of course. And I've been talking about Unity for how long here, folks? Yeah. About 15 minutes down the top of the hour. Keep our eyes tight here because I do think that there might be an issue here at 10 o'clock. What do you mean by issue? Well, that's when people start to either make their decisions or they stop trading or whatever. There we go. All right. I think we might be seeing the end of this run here to the upside. Tesla now the lows of the day. Now a new low of the day. Anybody else short? Ron says, yes, I've been talking about Unity for several years. That is correct. I have been. Yes. And Ron is right. I have liked Unity. And if you look at Unity software, if you pull up a weekly chart, there you go. I think over the last few years, I think Unity is the company. And I think it could very well go back into the hundreds, probably very quickly too. I think the first big move could be to $79, $80 a share. We've broken out already the downtrend. I think you saw me when I talked about that just the other day. The breakout could push this thing all the way back up. So Probably the first run here is probably about $50 a share. Looks like Bitcoin is slipping a wee bit, 117.6 here. There are a lot of Democrats out there that are fighting. They're fighting this these crypto bills here, and I don't think everybody I know on Wall Street and in DC, nobody thinks that House will be retained by the Republicans. Very few people think that, even on the Republican side, which is history, right? 9 times out of 10, whenever you have all three, you usually lose one. So many people don't think that the houses will stay, and this could be effective on crypto. So I would be very careful up here. We are seeing a little bit of a push here on the broader markets here. Again, I just don't see it. Kevin Warsh now says that he touts regime change at the Fed and calls for partnership with the Treasury. So it looks like we are seeing some of the very first comments out of Kevin Warsh, who everybody here expects him to be the next Fed chair. There we go. See how you need volume and you need movement and direction to show you, and you're not seeing that. This is where your charts actually do well for you. You can see the histogram already, the volume starting to dry up a bit. Yep, see, there's the drop. And if you're looking at it from the perspective of a 1-minute chart on the Qs, you're right in the middle of the linear regression, right in the right middle. I mean, it's like kaboom. So this is, I think, where the sellers are the buyers and the sellers are getting exhausted. I think it's just they're waiting on 10 o'clock. Pretty quiet here. Advanced decline still positive by 3,000. That's still pretty bullish on a day with no volume. I am not. This is telling me that it can't push either way. So let's see what we do here. It seemed like there's a fight with the algos. This is an algo trading day here. This is definitely not institutional retail trying to make some moves here. And Tesla back to 322, back positive again on the day. Congressman Brad Sherman says, the Clarity Act allows Trump to create electronic monopoly money. Watch me as I roll my eyes. All right, a little bit of a breakout here. $117,950 now on Bitcoin. 118 now. There's a little break above the 118. Come on. SMCI moving higher according to Ron here. Yep, correct, Ron. Again, it's all about these these there you go. Look at the volatility in this one here, the 1 minute chart. Whew. I still think the accounting irregularities there in SMCI is still a little bit much for me, but all right, so we are going to push higher. Got about 10 minutes now to top of the hour. Still not seeing it though. I'm still not seeing where we are. This breakout, this big push to the upside. I'm gonna pull up a 1 minute chart there. Still not seeing it. I mean, Taiwan Semi reporting that 61% year-over-year rise in second quarter profit. And then, but to me, that's okay. But it's all about the guidance. The guidance at Taiwan Semi was what I really like to see. And like I said, speaking to there you go. There's what I'm talking about when I say that profit taking and highs and all of this. It's happening, right, folks? I mean, it's not just there you go. It's not just there's a 1 hour chart right there, right? All right, well, there you go. There's your gap this morning. What did it do? Try to go back and fill the gap. All the things I'm talking about are happening. We could see the highs of the day here in the Qs. Looks like it. Trying. Boom. 118.2. We could get back to 119 pretty quick. Russian foreign ministry spokesman now says on Trump's comments, it's a signal to continue slaughter in Ukraine. Yikes. Those are comments you don't want to see out of the foreign ministries, especially foreign ministry, right? You expect the foreign minister to be diplomatic, and yet not. Which could equate to Raytheon. And that's why you're seeing Raytheon pushing a little bit here this morning. Stocks in the have been in the news lately. There's Joby again, Joby Aviation up again another 5% today. All right, we're testing that high again on the day from the Qs. APDN applied to DNA sciences up 10% this morning. One of my favorite traders back in the day, for those of you who always have been following me. They have been an easy short for a long time. We've been talking about this morning what gaps, right? Learning about gaps. There's a big gap here. Could go to gap to 750 here. 5 minutes now, at the top of the hour. Pretty quiet though, considering everything going on. It's just been very quiet. VIX not really moving much. 45.57 here this morning. 118.4 now on Bitcoin. Could push here a little bit. Trying to get that 118.8 is where I think if it's going to make a move to the upside, that's where it's going to go. If not, back to 118 pretty quickly here. $118.5. But the advanced decline line has not moved. 31.17. Silver pushing up here at 37.78 now, getting back to that 38 handle here. All right, 3 minutes down the top of the hour. If you're on Twitter, give me a repost out there. Send these numbers up higher for me. We really do appreciate all of you out there that are following us and watching us, because it's all about making money, right? So, and doing this and doing with a risk reward and learning risk reward. Tick now down 75. Russia's foreign ministry spokesperson now says, we will take all necessary steps to protect our country. Says in such circumstances, need to fulfill aims of our operation in Ukraine only increases. Yikes. This market is very quiet, unusually quiet here. As we are in the summer doldrums here. All right, it is 10 o'clock, and we have made some money again today. So if you have any questions out there, we're always looking to help out there as well. And yeah, pull the chair off. All right, for those of you out there who played at home, congratulations on the Tesla short. For those of you who are watching the markets here, we will keep our eye out. We got a few, obviously, some interviews today as well. And I will see you right back here tomorrow.